All right, hey, so this is a tutorial for the downloaded app version of Excel. You can get Excel for free through COS. You can go to your My Giant portal. Then you can find Office 365 and email. If you click on that, it'll take you to all the Office 365 apps. You need to download Excel for you to be able to do all of the things that I'm asking you to do, specifically to make a trend line. So if you don't have access to a computer, like a desktop computer, then you should do this in Google Sheets. And Google Sheets will be the second half of this. If you're opening up Excel in Safari or in Chrome or any other browser, you're not going to be able to do everything, I should say. Okay, so this is the data entered in here from part one of the density lab. You'll notice my volume doesn't have any decimal places, and so we're going to need to correct that to get the correct number of sig figs. Notice also that my numbers do not have units. That's okay. We're doing that because Excel can't tell the difference between what your number is and what your unit is if you type them all into the same box or cell. Each of these boxes is called a cell. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight all of these, and then we're going to go up to the top here, and you should see these little, I don't know how you describe it, but there's a little decimal place or decimal, and then there's some zeros, and so you can increase the decimal or decrease the decimal. What it's talking about is the number of decimal places. So for these volume measurements, might do something crazy like that. We'll just walk it back here. We want to have 2 decimal places for each of those. And then for our masses, depending on which scale you used, you should have 2 or 3 decimal places here. So if those aren't all shown, again, we're going to come up here, increase the decimal, and then decrease it so that each of these numbers has the number of decimal places that we want. Now, if you're working on a smaller window, you might not see that symbol up here at first, but it's in this number. There's like a percent. It says number. If you click on this, then you've got the increase or decrease decimal right in there. All right, now that we've got that and we've got these numbers set up, we can highlight all of them here. Just click and drag, and then you'll go up to the top and you'll go to Insert here at the top left, right next to Home, Draw Page Layout, Insert, and then you're going to come over here to the right, and you're going to insert a scatter graph. So you don't want this one with the lines. These are not what we're doing. We're doing a scatter graph. So there's these charts here. This first one is the scatter. So we'll go ahead and click that, and that'll give us a graph. Awesome. We're going to have to make some adjustments to this graph. And so if you're clicked off of the graph, you lose some settings up here at the top. But if I just click on the graph again, we get this chart design up here at the top, and we get format. Now, chart design is where we're going to go and do things like add chart element. So it's up here at the top left because you need to have axes. So we're going to go down to axes titles, and we're going to put in a primary horizontal axis title. We're going to come back up here, click on it again, go down to axis titles, and we're going to do a primary vertical axis title. And then you can click in here. It can be a little bit tricky, but if you highlight it, we can type in what we need this to be. So this is mass, and this is mass in units of grams. And then on the x-axis here, we're going to have volume. Oops. And that's going to be in units of milliliters. Great. And then the final, there's a couple more things here to do. We got to put an axis title, so we're going to put density of water, something like that. Now you can click on here, and the last thing we want to do is add a trend line. There's 2 ways to do this. While you're clicked on your graph here, again, in the chart design tab at the top, click on chart element, go to all the way down to trend line, and we want a linear trend line. So we're going to click on that. Bada bing, bada boom, that gives us our trend line. And then I believe, yeah, if we come over here again to this add chart element, we can go down to trend line again, and we're not going to click on another trend line, but we're going to go to more trend line options. And that's going to open up this window on the right. And then the last thing you need to add here is display equation on chart. So that's down here at the bottom. And then display R squared value on chart. So this is the equation that describes your trend line, or the line that's drawn here through your points. So you can see that this data is pretty good. The R squared tells you exactly, well, it doesn't tell you, I shouldn't say exactly, it tells you how close this line describes your data. So it's a representation of basically how well your line is fit to your data points. Now, once you have this, you need to export it as a PDF. So I'll have to save it real quick. So I'm going to do save, and I'm just going to call it density graph example. This is the wrong folder, but we'll just move it up into here. All right, so we'll save that. Wherever you save it doesn't matter all that much. And then the next thing we'll do is we'll come back up here to the top. This will look a little bit different on a PC. So this is what it's going to look like on Mac. But then we can do save a copy. If we do save a copy, then we'll get this window, and you'll get essentially the same options on Windows. But then we'll go down to PDF. So, file format, then PDF. And we're going to save the workbook as a PDF, and we can save it to the same location. And now I should be able to show you too. Density graph example, there's our PDF. We can pull up a preview real quick. And it looks like it cut it off. Okay, so you got to be careful with this in Excel. Pretty easy to do. The way that you can check that is you can go to View up here at the top, and we can get the page break view. Actually, maybe the page layout view is a little easier. And now you can see that this is stretched across those two pages. So we'll just click it, drag it, move it over. Again, File, save a copy. We'll save it to the same spot. Remember to change your file format, PDF, hit save. That should have replaced that file then. Oh, I accidentally hit a letter. Okay, well, it saved as this. But now we can double check our PDF, and yeah, it looks good. I don't know what that is. It comes up all the time. All right, so we got volume, mass, and then we've got our graph here. Easy enough to see. So now you can upload this to Canvas. All right, now we're in Google Sheets. We zoomed in again, starting out with the data, same format, just typed in. Remember, no units here either. We do want to extend this so that we have more decimal places. And it's a very similar symbol here in Google Sheets. So we're going to have increased decimal places, decreased decimal places. We want to increase those. Hello? Oh, what? Oh, sorry, I was doing that backwards. Increased decimal places, so now that looks good, right? We've got the correct precision shown there. We want to increase the decimal place here. If we hit that, it gives us one too many. So we're going to go back one. Now we have the correct number of decimal places. And then the process here is fairly similar to Excel. Highlight all of our data, including the headings. And then we're going to do insert up here at the top left. Insert. Oh, is it insert? Oh, insert chart. Sorry, there it is. So insert chart. Now that automatically gave us a scatter chart, which is nice. And again, we need to make some adjustments here. So we do have in Google Sheets, it automatically gave us the correct axis titles, but we do need to add to this mass in grams and volume. And I'm just double clicking into those, volume in milliliters. The title can be over to the left, that's fine. Okay, so now we've got this. The last thing we need to do is add a trend line. To add a trend line, you'll come over to the chart editor, and we go to series. And in series now at the bottom, we have trend line. So I'm going to click trend line there. That gives us a linear trend line. We just click the trend line. The label shows up here, and we're going to hit use equation. So that gives us the equation of the line. And then you want to check this box also that says show r squared. So for whatever reason, on here, our r squared is actually 1. And it gives us the equation of our line just like that. Now, if you want to export this, you should make sure that it's also going to export correctly. So we can do view. Oh, maybe it doesn't have it. Shoots. Well, always better to try and move these things on top of each other. So we're going to move this over a little bit. And now we can do file. You should save this, but we can also go to download, and then we can do download PDF. Oh, good. And so it gives us a page view. This is what the page is going to look like, and that looks great. If I hit cancel here and go back, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to move this to the side to show you what it's going to look like. If you don't have things grouped together, again, file, download, PDF. Oh, okay. So it adjusted accordingly. This is still going to look good. Just make sure that this is all on one page. And now we can hit export, and then it'll download that PDF to wherever we tell it to download. And then you can upload that to Canva.